Guys, this is another, video on the 4231, and it's basically so we can understand a little bit more of the formation, right? So here we have our 4231, right? We have our outside backs, our center defensive mid, center attacking mid, and outside mids, right? And a striker. So what happened today, let's talk a little bit of positioning defensively, right? So as you guys can see, right, where is our best place to win the ball? It's in the middle, right? As we shift in the middle, we have this whole space to win the ball, correct? We don't high press because we only have one player. So this is a middle block kind of formation, right? And this is where we basically win the ball because we have, five in the middle. That beats, uh, a 4-3-3, because there's three in the middle. That beats a 4-4-2, because there's four in the middle, or even a 4-4-2 diamond. Okay? So this is where we steal the ball, a middle block. Okay? For that formation to work properly, we need to understand that the mids here, the outside mids, they're actually outside mids though, right? They're not wings. So they have a lot of defensive work to do. Does that make sense? So what happened today is that these guys, for example, would stay up way too high, and then that will leave, you know, this gap here to be exploited and here to be exploited. So sometimes to cover that space, either our outside backs would have to push high and we would get beaten, into the space, which is not ideal, right? Because then we would have to, switch these players in here, and then that would leave a middle here. So, or, we would push the center defensive mid into that gap, and then we would leave the middle wide open. And that's not what we want, correct? So what we ideally want is, you know, drop back, okay, defensively, recompact, you know, like this, recompact defensively, okay, like this. In our own side of the field, we just leave our number 9 there, okay? As the other team progresses with the ball, right? Let's say, regardless of the numbers here, correct? So as the other team is playing here, that's fine. Don't waste your energy in here. That's completely okay. Let them come, compact, close the passing lanes, and then as they drag the ball here, that's when we individually mark the other team, right? Let's say here we have, again, regardless of the position, right? As they break into the space here, close to our side of the field, that's when we individually mark. This guy, our 9 closes here, our number 10 closes here, we close this space, and then our number 8 closes here. So, oh, coach, we leave this gap here, right? If we see this gap here, we can make sure that this player is stuck in here. Okay, that's fine. Because if they try to switch this ball all the way here, you know what I mean? That's when we shift again. Okay, so it is a lot of movement, right? So we need to make sure that we're moving a lot. But ideally, we need our, our outside mids to be defensively, on the ball, making sure that we're not leaving any players open. And then we can individually mark the players in the middle, okay? So then we can steal that ball. So again, we need to steal the ball on this side of the field. okay? So as they progress in this area here, okay, that's fine. Just let them play here. But as soon as they come in this area, this is when we push our line, and this is when we press them. Another thing that we need to understand a little bit more, it's, the swinging and the division between our center defensive mid and our center mid. Let's say there's a line here, you know what I mean, where this guy here doesn't cross. And if the ball is on the side, you know, this guy here doesn't cross. So I don't want this to be happening here because you're going to leave a massive gap here, okay? So instead, if this guy is wide open, okay, it's fine. You tuck in here, or you tell your center, your 10 to drop in here, okay? It will be basically like uh, a 4-3-2-1, okay? But if this guy doesn't come down, that's when you close here, this player tucks in here, but we make sure that this line is not crossed. We make sure that there is a division here so we don't stagnate too much into this space, okay? And we have to communicate, right? Make sure that you're not crossing, make sure that you're, closing on your player and you're not leaving any players open, okay? And if you need, outside mid, of course, drops in a little bit more. In this position, in this formation, our outside mids, have a lot of defensive work. So be aware of that, okay? You're not just sitting here in the top because you guys are not wings. If the ball is on the outside backs here, for example, right? If this guy is getting closed like this, open up a wide so you receive this ball, okay? And then this player checks in to receive that ball, okay? Now, if you're closed here and the outside back is closed on this side, closing the wing, okay, make sure that we play our center defensive mid. If you turn and you can play this ball perfect, this guy, don't be just waiting here, right? We want to open out wide, get this guy across, and then we play this ball through here into the diagonal run, you know, into the through ball into space. But make sure that we are, open out wide, as much as we can. So we sink in the other player here, and then we play that ball into space between outside back and center back, which is always a dangerous ball. Okay, so if the guy closes our outside back here, closing the mid, that's when we play the outside mid, okay? If the guy closes the outside mid, we play back to the middle. Okay, if nothing is here, you can turn and carry a little bit, Our number 10 can show up here. If nothing is there, you can drop, you can play, restart. You know what I mean? That's fine. Just swing the ball until we find a space. Also, as we triangulate here, right? For example, let's say this guy close, play here, you come to receive the ball here. All these players are going to shift this way, okay? So this outside mid, instead of hanging out here, kind of be here for that long switch here. Switch the focus of attack. Switch from one side to the other. In few touches, we can play that through ball here into space and catch the other team, lacking. So it is a lot about the movements, guys. Okay, we need to make movements that are going to be helpful to your teammates. Okay. Also, again, right? If this guy is opening up here, and this guy is closing this gap here for that pass, it's fine if you decide to take this space. Okay. Make sure that you're not losing that ball because as you're progressing here, this guy's gonna come on your side. Okay. So then either you play here or our 9 is moving here, checking in to receive that ball. Our mid is coming here. We're making the diagonal run behind. Either playing that ball here again, or as you see the space, we progressive carry with the ball, that happen a lot. Take a long shot, for example. Okay? So it's a formation that is very fluid. Okay? Very fluid. As long as you see the space, you can take it. Don't force it though. Okay? Make sure that you're taking few touches. Make sure that we're moving off the ball. Make sure that we're finding our spaces. Find a gap. Because as we pass a lot, pass, whatever, as we triangulate, we find the spaces left out by the other team as they shift. Does that make sense? So we need to be aware of the spaces. We need to be aware of what we're going to do next. Situation where these guys, for example, here, we are already here, and they pass, for example, from here to here, and this guy has a bad touch. That's when we high press, okay? But we have to have a high press very fast. Individually mark, close the passing lanes, push the line from the defensive line, Why? Why do we need to be fast? Because by the time this guy fixes himself up, he cannot have any options to play that ball. Does that make sense? We need to be high pressing, we steal that ball, and take a shot. So when they have a bad first touch, that's when we high press. When the ball is here and they have a bad first touch, you know, that's when we high press. We individually mark everybody in the middle. No open man. Okay? No open man. Because then, if there is an open man, they can simply just triangulate and all these players here are beaten. Okay? So when you press carefully. Okay? Close the passing lane and be intense. Make sure that you're pushing the high line. Make sure that, everyone that is a passing option is closed down, and then we close the player on the ball. Thing to talk about, right, is when the ball is on our mids. If the ball is on our mids and we have our back turned to the ball, to the opposite way, we're attacking, this way. So if you have the back to the ball, to the goal, the other team is gonna push high on you. Okay. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna play this ball. Okay. This guy has to be aware of who is coming. Okay. And then we can play, the outside back. This guy pushes back again, we can easily find the space left behind. Okay, so it's okay if you are going to play this ball back to your center back, or, you know, just be careful that this ball has to be crisp, this ball has to be hard, this ball has to be, on his foot. So this guy can just simply take a touch, for example, there, or even play that ball, to the outside mid as he can check in, for example, right? So here, here, here. And now we are already progressed, right? Our center attacking mid can drop here, we can simply lay it off and then take a shot. But make sure that you're aware of who is on your back. Okay, so if you have the ball turned to the opposite team's goal, make sure that we're simply laying it off. If you have the space, instead of receiving the ball front facing, drop down a bit, receive that ball facing forward, and then you have a little bit more space to take. For example, you have your center attack, your outside mid, or for example, this guy comes, our center attacking mid can drop into the space left behind, so we receive that ball in kind of like an L, right? So position your body kind of like an L, right? So you receive on this touch and you progressively forward. Okay?